Shabbat Shalom to everybody out there. Shabbat Shalom. This is the doctor, professor, bishop, whichever way you want to call me, Kifa Ben Israel. We want to thank y'all for being here. This is a very rare occasion where I'm actually allowing YouTube onto the virtual Sabbath meeting. That's only because we have not been active this entire week, only because of medical issues that I've had all during the week, which have been very intense. And I want to say to the people that have been praying for me, thank you very much for your prayers, because they have not gone on deaf ears. It has truly been a tremendous battle for me. And when I say battle, I do mean battle in the narrative sense, that I've truly been going through a lot. So we're allowing the public to be a part of our Sabbath meeting today. Shabbat Shalom, Baruch Hashem, to everyone out there. I just basically said, praise be to his name and happy Sabbath. Because I know there's a lot of you that are not chiseled into the Hebrew words. And that's another thing that we want to do, and that we're going to do as we go forward in teaching, is that we want to definitely engraft you guys into the Hebrew words, because a lot of you have not, and you probably will not be exposed to this type of teaching or this type of language anywhere else. So we want to be able to express with you guys exactly what words mean. And then on top of that, for those of you that are watching this on the YouTube counter, we use what we call a Bible called the Sefer or Sefer. It's spelled C-E-P-H-E-R. Some people call it Sefer because it's a little bit easier to say Sefer, but its actual pronunciation is Sefer. And we use it because not only does it have the books in the Bible that are inspirations that have been taken out, but it also gives us a clear definition of what is being said. So if you're going to study with us, I would advise you to go to sefer.net and look up and see if you can find one of these Bibles, which the cheapest one on that particular website is $95. And sometimes you have to invest. Yes, you do. A lot of times you have to invest in a product in order to get a good result. And I can't stress enough how much you have to invest into your product to get a good result. And a lot of people are in this fixation that you don't, excuse me, I'm sorry, that you don't have to invest, but you do have to invest. Always invest in your future, invest in your education, invest in your faith. What it is that you believe in, you should always have a basic a core understanding of what that is. So that's one of the reasons why I would say to anybody out there, I would advise them to get this Bible. It's worth getting. It's worth investing in. It's worth having. As a matter of fact, we're going to be talking today from a perspective which is not an easy perspective, but a necessary perspective to talk about today. We're going to be going to Galatians, the third chapter. Galatians, the third chapter today. There's a couple of things about that particular chapter that we need to bring out here on this Sabbath. There's been a lot of things going on in the world. There was an interview with Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan, that hit the airwaves like mad. And there was accusations of racism and a lot of other things that happened. Tucker Carlson, one of the hosts of the Fox television product, whatever you want to call it, made some very insulting remarks towards women in the military. He said that it was a mockery to the military to have pregnant women in uniform, et cetera, and so on like that. Um, Man, it's been so much stuff going on. The Church of God in Christ is in dilemma right now because their election has been held up until April as to naming a new presiding bishop of the entire organization. Uh, there's some inside stories about why and all this other stuff. I don't have the inside stories because I don't entertain gossip. But I do know that it's a major deal when one of our major organizations that houses Black people, which that is the Church of God in Christ, is in dilemma. It's a major issue, and that's something that people need to really pay attention to, because I said years ago, and the Father knows that I'm telling the truth. I prophesied years ago of this calamity that will be coming in our circles and in our communities right now. I'm not proud of the prophecies. You don't prophesy to people and jump up and down and say, guess what, I told you so. That may be what some people do on their level, but that's not the way it actually operates. When you have to give a prophecy of judgment, it is not something that you give with pleasure. It is something that you give because the Most High has given it to you, and He's given you the platform. Let me talk about that for just a few minutes. He's given you the platform to prophesy. Now, for all you wild prophets out there that think that you can prophesy when you feel like it at will and all this other stuff, that is not the case. It never has been the case, and it never will be the case. The Bible tells us plain as day that we must do everything decent and in order. Now, when we do things decent and in order, that doesn't mean blurting out everything that you see. As a matter of fact, it's a prerequisite for us to allow people to speak and do things. First Thessalonians, I think it's the 5th chapter, where it says, despise not prophecy, but examine each one, take what is good. So that right there lets me know that you can't just blurt out anything you want to say. And then when people take disenfranchised moments to speak, not only is that immaturity, but that is just out of pocket. And the way we solve that is that we have to be professional enough to not deal with that, because we must understand that we have a more sure word of prophecy, according to 2 Peter, the 1st chapter, I believe it is, where it talks about us having a more sure word of prophecy. And prophecy did not come from our own instinct. It came from the spirit of Yahuwah. So if it came from the spirit of Yahuwah, then we can't just turn it on and off when we feel like it. We have to deal with it accordingly. And then you have to understand too that prophecy is not some sideshow thing that we have grown accustomed to in our society. It's not something that you do because, oh, I got a word for you. I would advise people not to go looking for a word of prophecy. Now, I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to say it very strongly and vigorously. I would advise people not to go looking for a word of prophecy, because what you're going to do in essence is reveal yourself to the world in whatever nature that you're in. Now, if you don't want to be revealed and you want to get it privately, and you want Yahuwah to do certain things for you, then allow prophecy to find you. You don't go looking for prophecy, because you really, in all actuality, you have no clue what you're asking for. when you do stuff like that, because there's no telling what may be said or what may be revealed. And human nature always takes everything as an offense. No matter what goes on, human nature takes everything as an offense. Well, let me go there real quick to Jeremiah, the first chapter. The Most High always does that. Just when I'm getting ready to open up a can of worms on one thing, he goes into a whole nother section. Jeremiah, the very first chapter of Jeremiah. Let's see what the Most High said to Jeremiah about that very subject. Let's see. Jeremiah, the first chapter. Let's go to verse number 4. Verse number 4. And in verse number 4, it reads, then the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you and ordained you as a prophet unto the nations. Verse number 6, then said I, Adonai Yahuwah, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. Verse number 7, but Yahuwah said unto me, say not, I am a child, for you shall go to all that I shall send you, and whatsoever I command you, and you shall speak. Verse number 8, be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, says Yahuwah. Okay, let's stop right there, and we'll pick up at verse number 9 later on. It is really interesting that Yahuwah had already predestined Jeremiah, just like all of us have been predestined. But in the predestination and the revelation of who Jeremiah is or was, which is a prophet unto the nation, it was Yahuwah that ordained him. Okay. Man cannot ordain another individual in a divine purpose. All man can do is agree that the evidence and the sign of that purpose is there. That's all they can do. And once we set a person forth, or once we set them into action, if you will, then they go forth with the blessing of the Most High or the curse, whichever way you want to put it, because some people have been sent forward, some people set themselves forward. So we can't deny, or we can't ignore the fact that some people have been set themselves forward and have not consulted the Most High about where they're going. Now, just because you see visions and dreams don't make you a prophet. And just because you are charismatic and spontaneous, if you will, does not mean that you've been called. Oh yeah, I got to go there like real heavy, because there's a lot of people that are out here because they're charismatic preachers. Being a charismatic preacher does not make you a prophet. There's an order in prophecy, as you can see. In verse number 7, Yahuwah told Jeremiah, because Jeremiah was like speaking of his age and saying that he wasn't prepared and equipped. And Yahuwah said, say not, I'm a child, for you shall go to all that I shall send you. Now, let me talk about that. All that he shall send you. That means that the people on the other in are ready to receive you, even if they're rebellious. There's a platform made for you. Oh man, I know there's a lot of people that don't like what I'm saying, but the point is that he's not just going to send you in to a pack of wolves or a den of wolves and not give you protection. Now, proper Bible folks like to say provision, and I'll use their words for a minute just to play with it. If he gives you provision, then he's not going to play with that provision as to where he sends you. Where he sends you, he's going to give you a platform. If there's no platform, the Bible told his disciples or apostles at that time, he said, look, shake the dust off your feet and move forward. There's no need in sticking around when you've been called into this auspicious of an office, which is the prophet, and where you've been called to speak forth the truth, and no one is there to listen. Hear me now. I didn't say that you go out here and start your own ministry, but it doesn't make sense for you to be sitting in a ministry or in a circle, a group of people, and no one is listening to the words of prophecy. Now, the words of prophecy are going to confirm the word. Oh man, he said in the rest of this, he says, "Say not, I'm a child, for you shall go to all that I send you, and and whatsoever I command you, you shall speak." So the prophet's words are not their own. They're the words of Yahuwah, just inspired through the Holy Spirit. I'm about tired of these people, these independent opinions about what a prophet should or should not do. Just like this class right here that I'm doing here, this virtual meeting that we're doing, it's not an option for people to ask questions. When I open the door and I say, okay, ask questions, then you ask questions. It's not an option for you to sit back here and not get an understanding. Hello, somebody. We're supposed to be learning, and if you're not learning, then that defeats the purpose in you being here. I mean, you're not here for my sake. You're here for your sake. You're here to learn what ways that Yahuwah wants you to move and motivate in. And if you can't learn those ways in the effective manner in which they're put out there, then why are you even here? You know, what, nosiness, trying to get a prophecy? What is it? What's your aim and what's your goal? You know, we're getting a lot more smarter on that topic than before. Verse number 8, be not afraid of their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, says Yahuwah. So that tells me that most prophets don't have friends. Let me say that again. Let me pause for a minute. Most prophets do not have friends, but that does not mean that a prophet is not social and sociable. They can be social and sociable, but they don't have to be your friend. And that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow right there, is that you don't have to be anybody's friend to prophesy to them. As a matter of fact, I would advise you not to be their friend, because in that way, whenever the words of prophecy come out, they come out clear and more distinctive. Let me read one more verse, verse number 9. It says, then Yahuwah put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And Yahuwah said unto me, behold, I have put my words in your mouth. Here we go. No prophet should be speaking words of their own. No prophet, I'm going to say this again, no prophet should be speaking words of their own, because this is not the circumstance and situation that you want to be in. A prophet should be speaking the words of Yahuwah. Okay, we're going to open up the floor for questions, because this is a class, even though we're allowing YouTube in on the class. And if you're on YouTube, you can type in your questions or whatever the case may be. Please make sure that they're spelled, the stuff is spelled right, so I can understand what is being said. I'm working with one eye, so it's not like I have the whole versatility of being able to see everything at one time. So be courteous to me like that, if you will. But those of you that are on the panel, you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions, because this is still our virtual meeting class. So we're in Jeremiah, the first chapter. We're talking about, I guess if I had to title this, it would be the proper ways of prophecy. The proper ways of prophecy, which there's many. But this is just like a little teaser into what some of those ways are and what they may be. So come on, people. Let's unmute ourselves. Let's ask some questions. Let's get busy. It's good to see Elder Kim. I thank our administrative pastor for lifting me up on her time and on the prayer line that she has every morning. Want to thank you for that, because Lord knows I need all the prayer I can get to fight these physical issues that I've got against me. So I want to thank Elder Kim publicly for her diligence in what she does. Okay. All right. Let's, like I said, unmute yourselves to get this thing rolling. I'm pretty sure Nina Rivera's got some questions. So let's roll.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
When it says, do not be afraid of them. Okay. What does that mean in general? Like they're going to hide their faces, or they're walking among?
No, basically what that means is don't be afraid of what their comments are, even though they may disagree or agree with you. You have to understand that you're standing with the unadulterated, solidified word of truth. So of course they're not going to agree with you. So you've got to be able to stand flat-footed without any remorse and recompension of the situation, and speak forth as to what he wants you to say. And that's basically what he's saying right there. You can't have no fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next question I have, sir, was when he said he reached out his hand to touch him by the mouth. Is that putting words in?
Yeah. Well, that's what the Holy Spirit does. The Holy Spirit is the one that inspires the prophet.
Yes.
Don't let it be twisted like some of these little Hollywood prophets that's out here that want to say, well, the Lord put an unction in my spirit. I know you done heard that before. Yeah. Well, there ain't no such thing as no God blessed unction. Either he put it in your mouth, in your spirit, or he didn't. You know, that's the reason why we're in so much trouble today, like we are with some of these false prophets that are moving in the public sense. And that's why people gravitate to those type of people, because they don't prophesy the word, they prophesy the emotion. Okay. Yes. I'm not in the business of telling you what you want to hear. Yes, me personally, I could care less what you want to hear. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what thus saith the Lord. If it fits you, that's your business. If it don't fit you at the time, because there are times when I have prophesied to people, and I'm pretty sure they have said, well, that don't sound like me. It doesn't matter to me whether it sounds like you or not. Eventually, if you listen long enough, it's going to fit you. But the thing is that it's going to fit you rebelliously. Because Ezekiel was sent to a rebellious nation. That nation was automatically going to rebel against him.
Mhm.
And that's something that he had to deal with, not because he had to, but because that's just the way it is. You know, I mean, to see folks jumping up and down worshiping these prophets is pathetic. Because it used to be prophets were feared. When they came into the city, didn't nobody want to see a prophet.
Mhm.
But what are we doing now? We'll run to the Coliseum, to the church, or wherever they at to
Mhm.
try to get a word. And these false prophets take advantage of it because they want you to plant, sow seed into them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to give as many of them as a break as I can because I know a whole bunch of false prophets on the national level.
Mhm.
And I've tried to give them a break. But see, they done pulled my hand. Because the thing is, if you were so much of a prophet and so much of this and so much of that, where's your evidence?
Mhm.
And the evidence I'm talking about, hear me when I say this, the
Mhm.
evidence I'm talking about is your suffering.
Mhm.
Okay? See,
Yes, sir.
prophets ain't running around here with fancy cars and houses.
Mhm.
Not no real prophet.
Mhm.
Some of us are barely making it.
Mhm.
But the determination, you better hear what I'm saying. The determination is what keeps us going,
Mhm.
not the motivation of money or the motivation of things. Because there's not enough things in the world somebody can offer me to shut my mouth.
Mhm.
Okay. But you got to get to the point where you're just fed up and you're not gonna let that circumstance deliberate you. This is not something that all of a sudden you decided that you was gonna be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Some animated version of Marvel's Iron Man or Thor or the Hulk. Because we like to want to put the prophet in that imaginary sense. And I know there's some people out there that's listening to me. They know I'm telling the truth. You've elevated your prophet so far, even to a measure above God. So how do you say that? You know, how do you deal with that? But go ahead, with whatever. Go ahead.
Yes, may I ask another question?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh, uh, the word says that today I,
The word says what now? Say it again. You kind of faded out.
oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It says, the word says, today I point you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and to tear down, to destroy and overthrow, or
Right.
a plant.
Well, just like I said,
Oh,
prophets come to drink. They come to bring trouble.
okay.
When a prophet come into town, a king better watch out.
Okay.
You better hope you got a good word that's going to edify that king. Because if you don't have a good word to edify that king, then people are going to reveal you as to what you really are. That's why I was tripping whenever Donald Trump was president, and everybody was prophesying that he was a Cyrus and all this other junk that they said about him. And I was like, man, if they don't shut up with that noise, I
Mhm.
mean, God is not going to elevate someone that does not have a divine setting from Him.
Mhm.
Okay, Donald Trump is not divine. At the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say. That man is not divine. Joe Biden is not divine.
Mhm.
We're talking about flawed human beings
Mhm.
that need inspiration from the prophets. So if the prophets are not speaking truth to power, then what kind of prophet are you? See, I care less about Republican and Democrat. They all lie to me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was the Democrats that was in power that approved assassinations on the Black Panthers. It was Republicans that are in power right now that are looking at everybody and saying, "Oh, they don't need that stimulus money." For all these people that want to sit up there and say that Donald Trump would have gave you more money, well, his party didn't even want you to have the money. So human beings are flawed. So if you putting your trust in a human being and what they're telling you, you done fooled yourself. You have fooled yourself, because a human being ain't never been able to solidify anything spiritual. Am I helping you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stop trusting in man and start trusting in the spirit. And these prophets, I pray and hope that some of these younger prophets, which I know some of these people are hard-headed. Some people are listening to me, some people are not. I don't really give a care. But the bottom line is that you got to stop trusting in these prophets, because the prophet themselves are flawed. Okay? As we see, Jeremiah, he told Jeremiah to go don't be afraid of their faces. So what does that tell you about Jeremiah? Jeremiah had an impartiality and a flaw in his flesh. He wanted to be received by people. I don't give a care about being received by nobody. Now, I ain't always been like that. And true enough, I grew up, following the politically right statements. You feel what I'm saying? But then all of a sudden I got introduced to the book of Enoch, the book of Yasher, the book of Tobit, and all those different books. And I started realizing, wait a minute here. Something kind of funky about what they've been telling us and teaching us in Sunday school. Because you don't learn nothing in the Sunday morning service. You learn something in Sunday school, but you never learn nothing when the preacher get up there in the pulpit. Nope, I didn't say that, did I?
So,
I mean, it's the truth. The sermon has become what has always been the time of performance for the preacher.
wow.
And the real backbone to the church, hear me now, because I know Elder Kim hear me. Hear me when I say this. The real backbone to the church as we knew it was the Sunday school teacher. But they were the ones that taught us. Oh, y'all don't like what I'm saying now. I need 1,000 people on here to hear that. Because that's the backbone of the church. Without Sunday school teachers, who would learn any verses? Who would learn any stories? You ain't gonna learn in behind no John Brown preacher. Because half of them don't even know how to teach. But they sure know how to perform. Anyway, go ahead. I mean, I know what I just said just opened up a can of worms and probably busted a whole lot of people's bubble. But the truth be told, man, I remember being small and us breaking out in my house. It was a prerequisite that we went to Sunday school. Okay. And I went to one of them churches. I went to a Baptist church where one Sunday we had Sunday school and the next Sunday we had preaching. Okay, because like the preacher didn't preach every Sunday. But and see, a lot of people don't even remember that style. Because we used to always have Sunday school, but the preacher, like every other Sunday, the preacher wouldn't preach, which 9 times out of 10 meant that preacher probably had another church that they pastored, or that was just a format set up not to wear the people's patience thin. Okay. But either way it go, your core learning came from your Sunday school teacher. Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah.
Woo-wee. I just opened up a can of worms just now.
Mhm.
You two don't like me too hot right now because I just told the truth. But go ahead, Nina Rivera. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What does it mean when it says, "I see the branches of an almond tree"? So is that
He
like
just he's basically speaking about the type of prophecy. Jeremiah was more of a judgment prophet, I meant to say. And mostly all of his prophecies were bitter and sweet. Okay. They were sweet going in, but bitter going down.
Mm.
So, I mean, and that's really what we're looking at when we start talking about prophecy. I mean, I've never seen so many people that are friends with prophets. I don't know about you, but I never hear tell of that crap ever. But nowadays, that's all you see. Oh, prophet such and such a friend of mine. How are you a friend of yours? Or how is she a friend of yours? That means that they're gonna speak things biased for you rather than to you. Oh wow.
And,
You
can I
know,
say
I
one
ain't know.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just sitting here listening to what you're saying.
Mhm.
And by the way, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Happy Sabbath. Uh-huh. I'm listening to what you're saying. And
Mhm.
it just struck me.
Mhm.
When I used to go to church on Sunday,
Mhm.
and I always noticed these, well, I'm gonna say this one because I watched her a lot.
Mhm.
And she always got the same people
Mhm.
around her. They always going somewhere together. And when
Mhm.
they're in church, and I
Mhm.
noticed when she prophesy, she
Mhm.
always prophesied to the people that's right in her little circle who always with her. And I often wondered about that, but you just through the Holy Spirit
Mhm.
opened up my understanding what was going on.
Oh yeah, they buddy pals, butt partners.
Uh,
How you gonna be a prophet and have a whole bunch of friends
uh,
and walk in that circle and you have a whole bunch of friends? That's not so. It's just that because some of the things that the Most High is gonna lead you to say are gonna be so devastating that they're not gonna like you. Period.
yeah.
The prophetic is I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it very strongly. The prophetic is a very dangerous circle to be in. It's a very dangerous circle to be in. So that's one of the reasons why Sunday morning churches are going to be one of the ones that's going to fall real heavy on judgment.
Mm.
Because first of all, you're worshiping them on the wrong day. And then second of all, you're only doing something in order for people to hear you. That's why I say when the sermon come up, that's performance time. That's when the preacher get up and start doing all this cook on my die and kick at my shit. Okay. Putting on a show.
Mhm.
And we grew up with that garbage.
Mhm.
It's okay. And I'm gonna tell you something. One thing I can appreciate about this generation today. And when I say this generation, I'm not just talking about young people. I'm talking about us old folks that done woke up. We done got tired of that performance. And
Mhm.
we have said, you know what? I'm not gonna do it no more. So you can perform all you want to, but guess what? We're not hearing that stuff. We want to hear some essence, some words, something that's going to edify us. Man, let me tell you something. This past week, when I went through the emergency that I went through, man, you could have come and preached to me all you want to. I'd have told you to kiss my head. I would have. Man, I ain't trying to hear all that garbage. What I want to hear is a show enough word. Okay, I understand what them young people be talking about now. Them young people be saying, man, don't be coming and preaching to me. I get it now. Because when you knocking on death's door, the last thing you want to hear is a bunch of preaching. You want some edification.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, I'm sorry if that offended somebody. That might be the first time I've ever apologized, but you know, sometimes we got to get real stripped down to the core and tell it like it's how it is. I mean, some of y'all are politically right, but you're spiritually wrong. Oh Lord, help me in the name. I could go on this one about 1,000 times. But we need to wake up. Well, let me put it like this. We don't need to wake up. We're awake. We just need to choose which side we're going to be on. And Jeremiah, what Yahuwah was preparing Jeremiah for was the discomfort of what people were going to say about him. Yes, sir.
So one more question, please, Chief.
You're good. Ask him.
Okay, so in verse 5 of Jeremiah, it's, right there, say, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. So that was before your mama got pregnant with you. He knew you. Okay. Yeah. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you. So right there, I got a double question. He sanctified you. So everybody got sanctified before they came out of their mother's womb?
Yeah. If they've been called into a certain office, yeah, sure.
Oh, if you're called in a certain office.
Yeah. Not everybody's been sanctified, but those in the prophetic and the apostolic, yeah. In other words, when he says I sanctified you, that simply means that you were born for trouble. That's really what that means. That don't mean nothing. That's not an exhortation, if you will. That is a full-fledged warning. You fitting to go through hell. Okay. And don't get so uncomfortable, because guess what? Everywhere you go, I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you and shift you out of that until you get in your proper position.
Oh.
Yeah. Because see, the truth be told, a prophet has to continue to go forth until they find their fit. Because you got different prophets for different seasons and different circumstances and situations. Like, for example, my mission is quite different than other people's mission, because I can speak to the nations about a lot of stuff. And that's because the Most High has articulated my words to be able to reach those in high places. Well, that's not the case for some people. Some people can speak to you on the ghetto level. Okay, let me break it down like I want to. They can talk horsefly. That's what we used to call it back in the days, horsefly. But it's coming from a divine source, because they didn't know what they know, and you didn't reveal it to them. Oh, it's time for that prophet to stand up. I'm tired of the Brian Carnes and the Demetrius Senegals and all these Master Prophet Ebenar Jordan, all these people like that. Man, y'all ain't saying nothing. And the thing is that please don't be a prophet of the Most High. Don't be a prophet because you learn witchcraft. Oh yeah, I'm going there. Because some of them ascribe to witchcraft. That's why they know what they know. Hello, somebody. They ain't no prophets of the Most High. You saw somebody prophesy. So what you did was you did what the prophet did to Paul, that followed Paul on the journey in the excuse me, from the temple, and you emulated what you saw. Okay, so you just added a little sprinkle of dust and some blood and some chicken feet, and now all of a sudden you're a prophet. Hello, somebody. There's a whole bunch of them out here. Or better yet, you've been negative all your life, negative about most things. So guess what? You've added that negativity, which is giving you power. See, there's positive power, then there's negative power. And some people have mastered the art of negativity and have made people feel intimidated by that. You should never be intimidated by a prophet. I mean, come on now. If you done the do, you did the deed. So what? What's there to be intimidated about when you done did what you did? Oh my goodness, Elder Kim, you gotta have to shut me up. Because I'm here to tell you, I'm so tired of these fake, phony people. Talking about, oh, well, I didn't know what the Lord did. You knew what the Lord was going to say. That's why you didn't want to stand in the way. Come on now. You got a church by default. You didn't earn a church because of your purpose, which is, as he was saying in verse number 5, I knew you in your mother's womb. So I sanctified you. So where's the history of difficulties into your calling? You're separated because of that sanctification. And so now when people see you, guess what they say? I know such and such went through a rough time, so I know it's got to be the Lord speaking through them. You hear me? You heard me? They ain't talking about you because they think you're a wannabe. They know you where you come from.
Okay.
I know you didn't ask for all that, Elder Kim.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you went through all of that, because now I'm sitting here, my head going 500 miles an hour. It used to be when I was back there in those churches, and I wasn't in churches long. But what I did see, some of it just
it irked your nerve.
Yes. And I used to say, because I've always have been a person that's not materialistic. If I got it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. And I used to see so many of these ministers and prophets riding around and in these big old houses. And then some of them prophesy to you. And they done listen to their friends prophesy, because I've seen it happen. Their friends tell them something, they get up there and they prophesy. And then they sitting up on a big bankroll and could help other people and don't do it. Just steady wanting. I said, I don't like prophets. During that time, I ain't like them. I didn't.
Yeah. Well, that's because
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Well, they were prophets, PROFITs.
Oh, okay, those kind. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. They all about making the bank off people. Because real prophets ain't making no bank. I've had this ministry, public ministry, because I've been in ministry over 36 years, but I've had this particular public ministry for the past maybe 10 years or even 12. And I couldn't tell you one day in this ministry where our budget exceeded maybe $500 or $600. Not one day. And I ain't running around here in no nice fancy cars. Matter of fact, I ain't got no car. Now people might question the way I dress, but if you know how to go to the thrift store, you can find anything. And which is all right with me, because it doesn't bother me when people say, well, Darren, you dress nice. Thank you very much for the compliment. That just shows you that I care about the way I present myself. But, some of these other cats, man, they ain't going to no thrift store.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? They're not going to go buy them a buy here, pay here car.
Mm-mm.
No, they got to have the best of the best. And they took that mess from Reverend Ike back in the 70s, where he always used to say money begot money.
Mm-hmm.
And Reverend Ike tried to use money as a way to knock out the sense of racism. I can appreciate him for that, but at the same time, dude, understand something about that. What you're trying to knock out is a natural phenomenon of life that needs to be confronted. But you know what? It never fails. People like shiny things and fancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's the reason why you see more prosperity preachers on the scene than you do anything else. Come on now. Now we got that cuckoo Kenneth Copeland running around here showing how crazy he really is. And black folks was the one that made him rich. Come on now. It was black folks that sold into that man's ministry. Now he's a billionaire preacher. Who ever heard of a billionaire preacher? So I'm just going to stop not saying it. I got to call it out, because these guys ain't who they claim to be. Hello, somebody. Glory.
And you know what, Chief? I don't know, but when I used to go to those churches and they all driving in nice fancy cars, dressed from head to toe, houses looking almost like a mansion, I used to sit there and I say, well, y'all make me feel bad because I'm barely riding. Well, I'm on a May pop. That time might pop anytime. I don't have a mansion. I'm living in a little apartment. And I felt like I was out of place. I say, wait a minute, I'm finna stop going to church.
Well, see, that's the trick of the prosperity message. The trick of the prosperity message makes you want to have more than what you really have. That's the whole trick of it. And it works. That's the crazy part about it. It works. Because you got a lot of people out here that's ashamed to be who they are for whatever reason. Hallelujah. What a message.
May I ask you a question, sir?
Yep.
Is that why it says, I do not know how to speak?
Well, Jeremiah was intimidated because of the people he was dealing with. And you have to understand that Jeremiah didn't come into his prophetic identity until he was able to understand what it was. See, that's another thing that people need to understand. I don't mind kids prophesying. I don't mind that, because you can't control the spirit of prophecy and who it comes on. But I do have a problem with us labeling children as prophets, because they don't understand what that means. Could you imagine if somebody would have got a hold of Brian Carn and raised him as a child and then let him develop as a man? He probably wouldn't be getting in all the trouble that he's in. But they boosted him up because he was prophesying. See, people are moved by the gift more than the gift giver. So I'm not moved by a person that prophesies, because prophesying is only a prelude to the prophet. That's only one of the things that a prophet does. And in some cases, it's not even the major part of a prophet. Because if those of you that have been studying with me, we went into the book of Jasher, and in chapter number 3, it talked about the life of Enoch. Mm-hmm. Now, in the life of Enoch, we see where he had a disciplined lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And he lived according to his faith, and he taught people. Mm-hmm. Oh my. Now I just said something that's really gonna make these folk mad. Yeah. He taught people. Mm-hmm. He taught them the confirmed word of truth. Mm-hmm. But very rarely did you see in that chapter and verses in the book of Jasher, did you ever see him prophesy to them? Uh-oh. Oh my, Elder Kim, this is where I get in trouble at. He was more concerned about the word than he was the pleasure of the people. Mm-hmm. See, Enoch didn't have relationships. When y'all get a chance, those of you that's got a sefer, go back and read Jasher chapter number 3. Read it. Okay. Because I'm telling you, he did not excel in friendships. Enoch spent more time to himself than he did anything else. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because in order to hear from God, he had to be secluded. Yahuwah is not going to show up in a crowd of people. I'm sorry. Right. If he do show up in a crowd of people, you better believe he's coming with judgment. Mm-hmm. But if he shows up in a crowd of people and it's just to be, like, oh, this is my buddy, my pal, my friend. Well, guess what? He don't do that. Mm-hmm. He don't do that. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. I know people don't like me right now, but they'll be okay. They will get over it. Do you heard what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, I see Bishop Paul there. I think he's got a question. Let me go ahead and unmute yourself, sir. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, you got to unmute yourself. I'm not able to unmute you. He's trying. He's working on it. Mm-hmm. There, no, he didn't get it. Not quite. The drum roll is still going. Well, he'll be back anyway. So you guys getting this tonight? I mean today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because in all actuality, the prophet's office has been misinterpreted, and that's the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing. The prophet's office has been totally misinterpreted, like really bad. And now you got these little freak show prophets that are doing what they're doing, and nobody's holding them accountable. Mm. And that's mainly because of what you just asked. Was it Elder Kim? No, it was Nina Rivera that brought out the fact of don't be afraid of their faces, right? Wasn't that you, Nina Rivera? Okay. Yeah. Well, the reason why you see that is because of the popularity sting. Everybody does not want to be the one to ask that question. Okay? Yes, sir. Okay, Apostle Brandy is on. She's got her hand raised, so go ahead, Apostle Brandy.
No, I don't have anything. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just listening.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Well,
Good to go.
good to be seen. That's about that. That's all I can say. It's good to be seen. Well, you guys are not actually seeing me, but it's good to be heard. So I'm glad on that issue. So I guess Paul messed up his feed, so I guess he'll be getting back on, maybe not getting back on. I'm not gonna worry about it one way or the other. But any more questions y'all got? Into more questions. Oh, y'all must be pretty satisfied now, right?
Yeah. You really open that understanding to that one. Ooh. My understanding, yeah, you open it up.
Blessings. Let me say this again, because for the sake of people that are just now chiming in, always remember that in the Sunday morning churches, the core of those churches are the Sunday school teacher. Because you're going to learn more in Sunday school than what you're going to learn from a performance preacher. Because a preacher, let me tell y'all something. Modern day preachers, and when I say modern day preachers, I'm not just talking about in 20 whatever. I'm talking about from the late 1950s to the 1960s to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It was always a performance once you hit that pulpit. I mean, your performance probably meant everything once you hit that pulpit. Point blank. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, and buts about that. Nothing you said had to make no sense. You just get up there and rhythm and rhyme and hop and hoop and slam your finger on the table and bury your fist everywhere, and people feel like, oh Lord, they done preach. But there were very few times that you could honestly say that you actually heard what they said. So because of that, we had the basic fundamental learning in Sunday school. Without the Sunday school teacher, there was no essence or what's the word I'm looking for? There was no core to the what you were saying. But when the preacher got up there on Sunday morning to do their performance, that's exactly what they did. They performed. And to this day, I don't care if you're talking about white churches, black churches, Milano churches, whatever. They have learned to perform. We got to get out of the performance center and get into the deliverance center. Hello, somebody. How you going to call yourself a prophet and the only thing you know how to do is get up there and dance and slide across the floor? And you know how to raise up an offering. Oh, no, nobody like me now. Okay, Paul is back.
Yeah, my headset just quit on me, so I ended up having to get another one out.
That's okay.
I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
And I do agree with what you're saying here on the pastor in the Sunday school, because I think a lot of the pastors were like the class clown, standing up there trying to get attention on Sunday, you know. And my question is, we're talking about I am in the Father and the Father is in me. Well, I understand him in me, but I don't understand how I'm in him. Because that's literal.
Yeah, that's literal. Speaking of the spirit, because I mean, you can be in him in the spiritual sense, and you can be in him as far as the word is concerned, but definitely not in the flesh. No.
Yeah, that's why I say that's the literal, because now when I got born again, you know, it's like you could actually feel like a cloud coming into you.
Right.
And it was nice and warm. It just spread all out. Well, going with
Right.
that, now how did that go into him?
It don't. That's the whole key right there. He don't really need you for nothing. All he needs is your spirit. I think it was I forget who it was that was had made the song. I think it was Marvin Winans or somebody like that, but they made the song say, I need your spirit. And that's what the Holy Spirit, that's what Yahuwah is exclaiming, is that I need your spirit. Open your spirit to me. Your the physical understanding is never going to be able to understand what's really going on, but your spirit being open always going to understand what's going on. You know,
sometimes.
yeah, it takes a minute because sometimes we like reject that stuff, but the spirit always remember what the Bible says. The spirit is willing and the flesh is able. The flesh is able to do what the spirit wants done, but the flesh is always rejecting the spirit. So even with a prophet, it's hard for a prophet to relate to the flesh of the spirit. So I mean, because see, people don't understand that when you're a prophet and the Most High is giving you a word, you're the first person that's got to get the word in you. You're the first person, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna reject it because it's not pretty much the way it should be. Let me say it like, because you're like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. I don't know if I want nobody saying that to me. Not knowing that he's saying it to you to rebuke yourself.
But the other part of that is you're the only one that got that word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You're out there all by yourself.
Yeah, you're stuck on a mountain in an island, and you don't even realize which way to go.
I know it. Boy, do I know it.
Yeah, and when it gets, it's almost like being what we call retarded, mentally retarded, right? Sometimes it's not that you don't understand what's going on, it's that you can't place it. Help me, Lord. I just put it out there for you. Your brain doesn't work as fast as your physical attributes. So mentally, you're seeing this thing, but physically, you're not catching up with it. See, there's dimensions in the spirit. And that's where people need to understand in this walk that we're in. We're walking a dimensional walk. And because we're walking a dimensional walk, things ain't going to be the way we want it to be all the time. Because guess what? Some things will happen, but have not happened. Oh, you better walk with me and talk with me here. Okay? Uh-oh. I think
I understand that.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes when I look at something, I'm seeing the whole big picture. And most folks just look at the little part of it.
That's because your mind is open more. You have to understand that you're dealing with more maturity than most people.
But when I look at this big picture versus that one little old piece that you want to put in there, I've got a better picture, but it ain't happening the way I got my little quarter in there, and that ain't the way it ought to be.
Well, that's the reason why I question people that are younger in this prophecy game. Because what can a young person contribute to the prophecy game when you, as a prophet, you're supposed to see the big picture? See, when you prophesy, you see what you see. But when you're in the scope of prophecy, it's a bigger picture than what you prophesy. It goes way beyond that. It goes way beyond that.
What is the scripture that says we know in part, we prophesy in part?
Simply that.
Does that mean that we have we're not always going to get the big picture. Sometimes God will show you as a prophet. He'll show you, but what you see, you don't always speak. And and prophets go on maturity. When you first start prophesying, you're not going to prophesy the whole picture. As you mature as a prophetic person, or as a prophetess or a prophet, as you mature, because a lot of folks are shallow prophets. And when you're shallow, I know that. I can see it in the spirit realm. But when you're a deep prophet, you get revelation, and you hear your hearing in the prophetic is different. Your discernment is different as you mature as a prophet.
Well, you just said it right there. Maturity is the key.
If you're not always going to know everything.
Well, you'll never know everything.
Yeah, you're not.
But
You're not going to prophesy.
You will be able to see the big picture. That's the thing about it.
Sometimes you don't.
Well, no, I beg to differ, because Ezekiel was taken up in the spirit and was shown everything. He saw it all. The spirit showed him. He said, look, this is what's going on. Now, what you do with it is a whole nother game, because you're going to see it. There's not a prophet alive that's walking this earth, or real prophet, because everybody claims to be a prophet. But there's not one that's walking this earth that's really inspired by the Holy Spirit that has not been shown the big picture. And a lot of times that's what scares a lot of us, because we do see the big picture and we're like, wait a minute, there's destruction over there. There's damnation over here. There's criticism over there. And that's what scares us. That's what keeps us from going into the full potential. See, it's our choice not to do that.
I agree with that corporately, but personal prophecy, it's not always like that.
I mean, it doesn't matter, because I mean, you see what you see.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because personal prophecy is not always exposing one's business.
Well,
but God does not always expose a person's business. If that be the case, then a whole lot of us would probably be in trouble.
Well, no, I ain't gonna agree with you on that, because if a person's personal business is against the kingdom, oh yes, it will be revealed. There's no doubt about it.
Well, a lot of that is going on right now.
Well, that's just the case.
A lot of lying and exposing is going on right now.
Well, that's been going on for umpteen years. I mean, the thing is that some of us that were politically right and we were raised up in church, we were taught not to speak against these people.
Yeah, okay? Some of us are just messy. Some of us are just messy.
But see, now we're saying, you know what? I ain't with that political right crap. Now I'm going to speak what I speak. But we also have to remember too what the Bible says, and I said it earlier, that he does everything decent and in order. When he gives you a platform, that's when you speak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't.
Some of us are just still messy in the body, that's standing behind the word and hiding in the pulpit, and it ain't got nothing to do with the performance. We just live in control, and we messy, and we bring folks into a bunch of mess. Well, and a lot of people are just sick of that.
That's that side of it. And the thing is that if you're
allowing you in a minute and then say it's God. No, it ain't God. You lying on somebody.
Well, again, you're talking about a whole nother area. And that area right there, we've been knowing that's been like that for years. There's no excuse for us to sit here and say, well, I didn't know.
We need to be honest. We need to be honest with each other and call that stuff out and stop tripping about it and just go and get it out in the open.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Now I'm gonna tell you the truth about that. Some of that stuff
need to stop being hidden and just go and get it out. Then all the lies can stop.
Well, again, maybe so. There are some things that God does not permit us to speak on.
He permits it, just don't do it.
Oh, no.
They'll find another way to lie.
Yeah, there are certain things.
But not when you address the one that's telling the lies and give them a chance to explain themselves.
Hear me. Even Christ did not address his accusers when they lied on him.
Well, I'm not right.
There are
I'm
things
gonna address
that
it.
we are not allowed to do. And that's because we have to let the word manifest. See, one thing about it is that we can get in the way of the manifestation of the word by letting our emotions get us caught up because they lied on us.
Yeah, because then your brother and sister are supposed to be your brother and sister still lying on you. And they're supposed to be up there
Well,
for your word every time. Then they steadily lying on you. Then how do you deal with that?
easy. Leave them alone.
My point
Leave
exactly.
them alone. Leave
Yeah,
them
shut that
alone.
lie,
Walk
cut that
away.
lie off.
Yeah, walk away. Because guess what? You're going to be arguing with these people till kingdom come. Because folks that love lies and love gossip are going to back them up and they're going to put you down.
Yep.
I mean, I've been a victim of it so many times that it's a shame. So many people have told so many stories on me to where I'm like, wow, I need to write a book on the stories that's been told on me. It'd be a bestseller. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. True.
But the thing is, I have taken that and fueled it in a different way. I've taken it, I've used it, I've pretty much gained strength from it. See, if you're mature, that's what you do. Immaturity will cause you to fight back. Now, I'm gonna say this about Brian Carn, and Lord knows I very rarely give Brian compliments, but I'm gonna give him a compliment. This last situation that happened with Brian Carn, where Demetrius Synagogue got on YouTube and called himself rebuking him and stuff. One thing that Brian didn't do, Brian did not come back at him and say, well, you know what? I screwed your wife because you don't screw her. Or better yet, oh, you a false prophet. He didn't do that. Brian didn't do that. Brian just basically went through the protocol and did whatever he do, no matter how fake it is. He did what he had to do, but he refused to put his mouth on the man of God. And then when you look at in the Bible sense, look at King David when Saul came up against him, right? David dared not put his mouth against Saul. So we have to think about that before we go and retaliate against these people. Because at one point in time, they could have been used by the Most High. Or better yet, they might be still being used by the Most High.
So,
but either way,
is retaliation or confrontation? Confrontation may not always be nice, but sometimes it is necessary.
It depends.
When you confront an issue.
It
And
depends.
the thing about that, I think we mixed that up with retaliation. No, if you still running your trap and lying on somebody, you need to shut your mouth and stop lying when you're the one that's wrong.
Well, the only problem I got with that is that when you do a confrontation with somebody, most of the time when they know they're wrong and that they've done something in error, they're not going to be by themselves. So the reality of confrontation in our day and time, it really don't exist. You really can't confront nobody no more. And I've had to learn.
We went through that.
Yeah.
I've
had a hard day. I went strictly through that. You know, my cousins put me out there really bad. And because I really didn't give a rat's cuss, I confronted.
They did put you out there. They pulled me in that mess. And and that's what you deal with, church folk.
But you got to realize something too, something that I know about.
Still lying, still conniving. And the thing about it is, it's time to stop covering up for folk and just put it out there.
Well, the thing with that, again, like I was saying, there's a time for that. Okay. Some people you can confront, some people you can't confront, because you have to know the devices of the enemy. There's some people out there waiting for you to confront them, and they got different things and different people sitting right there waiting to discredit you. So the best thing to do is to walk on. You just don't respond.
That's my best thing is to walk on.
Yeah, you just gotta not respond to them because they're idiots and fools. And you know, I'm not afraid to sit there and say this, on this platform, because I've had cousins, I've had other family members. I've had other ministers leave this ministry and have discredited me. I've had, oh my God, Elder Kim and I don't know who all, just all kind of folks.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about discrediting you or anybody. I'm
Well,
just saying that because I'm saying this. I've been the lie on by somebody in your ministry several times now. And one of the one that came to you was Nina Rivera with her mouth on me. Then it was the other one. I have done nothing but try to be a blessing to your ministry.
Oh, okay.
And
Look,
I did give you your money.
Look.
We did not take any money from you.
Apostle
We
Brandy,
gave you your money
this is not,
for that.
this
And
is
you
not,
lied.
look,
You have said that I
You need
did
to be
not.
muted.
Apostle
So
That is
Brandy,
not
this
cool.
is not the
disrespectful.
platform
Wow.
for that. This ain't the platform for
Yeah,
that, man.
come
No,
on,
it's the
Sabbath with that.
platform
Not
for
the
what it
platform.
is. Because if you can lie
Look,
on me like that, you can
this
lie
is
on me like
not,
that, and then you
What you
this
consecrate
is
do?
me.
not the
You keep your
platform for,
certificate,
hey,
whatever
people,
How
that.
come
you
on,
I'm
came
not
here
man.
for
talking
some
to you.
mess?
Look,
The
cut it
thing
out,
about it
cut
is,
it
if
out.
Nina Rivera has something to say to
Cut
me,
it
she
out,
has something to say
man.
to me.
Cut it out.
And I did not
This ain't the,
introduce you to Althenia. I didn't introduce none of
look,
these women to you, and
man,
you're
this
not
is
gonna
not
keep
the
lying on me.
platform for that.
You're not gonna keep.
No, this is not the platform for that.
Yeah, you should mute
No,
her.
no, this is not the platform for that. If there's any issues with whatever the case may be, we deal with that privately. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Devils.
You don't do stuff like that, man. If you got a problem with a person, we deal with it directly. Each one of y'all got my telephone. This is on a national platform right here. See, this is the reason why we have problems with this particular ministry now, because nobody respects the leader. No, we don't do stuff like that. Man, I'm sitting up here dealing with my health, and I'm sitting up here on here as it is against doctor's orders, and I don't want to hear no drama. My goodness, man. I don't know. I mean, if anybody want to talk to me about stuff on that level, call me. You got my telephone number. Call me, but don't use my platform as a place to rebuke other people, because you don't have that authority. With that note, I'm going to end it today, because that just soured everything right there.
That's what the devil wants.
Jesus, man.
That ain't the devil. That's confrontation, because you lying.
That's not confrontation.
You're lying on people. I did not introduce you to no other woman.
Man.
I didn't.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Well, wait a minute. Let me cut my feed off. See, okay, now you got people on YouTube hollering, wow. That's not the way you do things. That is not the way you do things. That is not the way you do things. Be in order. If you're going to be a person of order, be in order.
With order with them. Shoot.
Come on, man. You don't do stuff like that. Come on, people, man. Don't y'all think I done been through enough? Jesus Christ, man. I'm sitting over here battling for my life, people. I'm sitting over here battling for my life.
We don't steal money.
Oh my God, really?
Me and Stephanie have been nothing but a blessing to you, man.
Look.
You have lied on me to other folks that I didn't give you a dime.
Call me on my
phone. No, I'm not calling you on no phone. I'm done with you.
You're not going to discuss this on my platform. I don't care what the issue is. Those issues are not public issues. That is not stuff that people out here in the public need to be talking to me about.
Mm-hmm.
What people give, what people don't give, it does not matter. I don't know what in the world anybody's talking about, first of all, which is unfair to me because I don't know what anybody's talking about. And then second of all, if you got an issue with Nina Rivera or anybody else, there's what you want to talk about confrontation, you do it privately. You do it privately. And for the record, Nina Rivera has never told me anything about anybody. So I don't know where that came from or what that's about.
Be great, but we didn't steal your money. I sent you that cash check with
Steal the money?
I didn't have
What
your
are you
money.
talking about? Man, call me on my phone, man.
Oh, God, I can't believe this.
All right.
This is unbelievable.
I don't know.
Man, I'm getting off of here, man. I'm done with this. You just messed up my whole recording. Just messed up my entire recording. Messed up a whole freaking recording.
May God be with them all. Boy. These people do
and the
not
$200,
fear.
the $200 you got it
They
because
don't
I
fear
had
God. They
record.
don't
I
fear
sent you the
man. They
money.
don't fear nothing. They just rude.
Sent you the money.
Talking
Man.
about
I
money.
sent it to you.
Filthy
And you lied. Yeah, you did it.
I knew it was
Making my ministry look bad. You worried about your
girl.
I don't know what Nina Rivera had to say about me because of your people. I don't know nothing about Nina Rivera except for what.
We're going to get off here because there's total disrespect. I'm blessed. Last one of you. Y'all be good.
Disrespect